This is
Absolute Genius.
Come with us as we dive into the wonderful world of technology.
This is mind-blowing.
Each show we introduce you to geniuses whose inventions have changed the world forever. We then take their tech and supersize it in our Genius Tech Challenge. The question is, can we pull it off?
Is this his brain?
If you love gadgets, then strap yourself in. It's genius.
Absolute genius. On this show, we're exploring the ways technology has helped us talk to each other.
From the humble beginnings of the telegram
G.
To the future technologies that will blow your mind.
Plus, we make history with a quiz like you've never seen before.
Welcome to the world's first ever brain-to-brain quiz.
Today, we're going to be talking about all things communication.
In the past, if you wanted to send a message over some distance, you'd either have to go there or maybe send it by carrier pigeon.
Like this. Fly, my pretty one! These days, 92% of us have got one of these, a mobile phone, but they were invented 40 years ago, and back then they looked like this.
Really heavy, massive battery. But today we're going to introduce you to three geniuses who made the art of chat even easier. Today, we take communication for granted.
And we love to talk, spending on average over half an hour on the phone and well over an hour hooked up to the internet every single day.
Thanks to advances in technology, there are now loads of ways to chat, and it's never been so easy to keep in touch with people, no matter where they are in the world.
And later in the show, we're going to show how much communication has moved on when we take part in the world's first brain-to-brain quiz. Today, there are loads of different ways of communicating.
From social media sites like Facebook, Twitter or Instagram.
Face-to-face video calling and emails.
But it wasn't always that easy.
No, not until one man came along and developed a way of communicating over long distances.
All you needed was some wire and an electrical pulse. May we introduce to you Samuel Morse.
Beep, 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 beep. In 1837, two Brits, William Cooke and Charles Wheatstone, developed the first commercial telegraph.
A telegraph is a way of communicating by sending electrical pulses along a wire from one point to another. Genius. But there was a problem. How could you use it to actually send a message?
Enter Samuel Morse, who invented an ingenious simple code of short and long beeps that made up the alphabet.
It was known as Morse code, and it meant that messages could be sent easily along the telegraph.
Time to learn about this genius. We've come here to the Telegraph Museum in Cornwall. Now, it looks like a regular building, right? It's not. In the 1870s, it was the centre of communication for the British Empire. That's how important that building is.
Yeah, it was the hub for high-tech communications for most of the world, and it even had cables running all the way to India.
Good place to learn more about our genius. To explain all things Morse, we've got John. He's a telecommunications expert and knows everything there is to know about the code.
John, what was actually Morse's genius?
It was really the simplicity of his code. You have a dot, you have a dash. There's nothing else. You don't have half a dash or three-quarters of a dot. But with those dots and dashes, you could send the whole of Shakespeare to Australia.
Right.
It'd take you several weeks, but you could do it.
Yeah.
Morse's genius was to develop a simple code that assigned dots and dashes to each letter of the alphabet. But what technology was used to send the messages? John, what is this contraption we see before us?
This magnificent machine is intended to give you an electric shock.
Oh, great.
No, don't worry. It's really to demonstrate that the signal travels instantaneously.
That's
and
fast.
this, of course, was the important thing to Mr. Morse. Communications faster than the galloping horse.
OK.
Right,
OK.
so we're going to try and send a message to each other,
Have a go.
but get a shock
Look.
while doing it.
Look, look, look. So, look, A would be bup, and then a long line is a bup.
That's an A.
Is that right?
Excellent, beautiful.
Obviously, a real Morse code machine didn't electrocute you, but it did work on the same principle, and this is better.
Okay.
My brain's telling me my fingers to go there, but my fingers...
Did it?
Yeah.
Did it?
It did.
Oh no, I don't watch it.
It did. Right.
Although it's hilarious to electrocute Dick, there is a serious side to this. We are acting like actual Morse code receivers.
Electricity would be sent through miles of wires to various receiving stations all across the world. Because of the speed electricity travels, it meant that messages could be sent almost instantaneously.
Well, it seems simple enough. Let's give it a go.
You ready? Okay.
F.
No.
No.
Dot, dot, dash, dot.
Di-da-da-dit.
Da-da-dee-da.
Ba-ba-ba-ba.
Ba-ba-ba-ba.
G.
No.
Maybe it's a bit harder than we first thought.
Ba-ba-ba-ba.
B-b-b-b.
Let's go and do it properly. Let's do it on a bigger scale from one building to another in the valley here.
Good idea. Before we go, Morse, this one's for you.
Rude.
The telegraph took the world by storm, and in 1857, the first of many cables was laid running from Europe to North America.
This cut down the time it took to get a message across the ocean from 10 days on a ship to a matter of minutes.
John, what brings us here?
Well, this is one end of a working, genuine telegraph link. The other end is an entirely separate building, and we're going to use this to send a real message.
Ah, so one of us is going to send a message to the other one.
That's the idea.
Excellent. You stay here with that. Send me a message with this over there, right? You come with me.
Off you go.
Right. What am I going to send? I'll think of one word that describes Dom.
Morse code machines could send messages over huge distances. Today, we're just 500 meters away.
Come on, don't take the stairs.
As long as there was electrical wire running between the 2 points, you could send messages over any distance.
Right, Dom's in place, so I'm going to send a word that best describes him, and that word is fidget. Right, here we go. So, F.
Dit. So that's definitely an F. What was that one again? Oh no.
All right, let's see what he comes up with. Did that sound about right?
More or less.
First letter was F. Then R.
Bear with us, everyone. This might take some time.
Fuff.
What are you having for tea?
Sausage.
Sausage.
Fuff it.
Going away?
Yes.
Where?
Italy.
Italy.
Next week.
Next week? Hurry up, Dom.
Fuffeet.
And yourself?
Yeah, just got back from Ibiza.
Oh, very nice.
And then there was a definite fid. Right, I've got it, and I know this is definitely the word.
Ah, what's that I hear? The pitter-patter of tiny feet. Got a word? It was the word to best describe you.
Is the word
Yes.
fidget?
You got it!
Unbelievable result, and that is all thanks to this man, Morse. You are an absolute genius.
Beep, beep, beep. Thanks to the invention of Morse code and the genius of the electrical pulse, we could chat all across the world almost instantly.
After this, the way we communicated changed forever.
Still to come, we find out how this paved the way for Wi-Fi.
And we see how technology might make our brains the phones of the future. That is genius.
But not all communication has been so great, because now it's time for
The not-so-genius idea! The year 2000 saw the arrival of a new high-tech way for us all to communicate.
the Amstrad emailer. It was released at a time when we were all discovering the internet.
And This fantastical device allowed us to send texts, receive emails, surf the web, and make calls. All from a landline phone that had a keyboard built into it.
All quite impressive, but back when it was released, there were already loads of websites offering free email, and the Amstrad emailer used to charge you every time you sent one. Ooh, definitely not so genius. We've already witnessed the genius of Morse, who revolutionised the way we communicated through the telegraph, but things have moved on a lot since then.
Nowadays, we all communicate using our mobile phones, Wi-Fi, and Bluetooth.
But none of that would have been possible without our next genius, scientist and Hollywood actor Hedy Lamarr.
You sound as if you disapproved.
During the Second World War, Hedy Lamarr was married to a man who sold weapons to the Nazis.
Fearing for her life, Hedy fled Europe to America, where she became a Hollywood actor.
And she came up with a secret communication system that allowed torpedoes to override jamming signals so they can hit their target.
Really?
Really?
Hedy's system was later adapted so that messages could be sent by the military secretly.
And later it became crucial in the development of Wi-Fi and Bluetooth, which is used in loads of communication gadgets that we use today.
But how on earth does this technology work?
I mean, I don't know, maybe there's some kind of wireless connection that's invisible or something.
I have absolutely no idea.
Oi! Are you ready?
Meet Fran, our scientist friend who can explain things in a way even we can understand.
Oh, no, and she loves a good experiment.
Exactly.
Best of all, she pops up whenever we need her most.
Oh, hey, Fran.
I've heard you two want to know how Wi-Fi and Bluetooth work, yeah?
Yes, please.
Of course they do.
Well, I've got a way to explain it that even you two will understand.
Even us two?
Even you
What are you
two.
trying to say, Franny?
Well, we'll see.
Hey, what are you
I
trying
like
to
the sound of
say,
this.
even us two?
Now, this is a radio-controlled car.
It's not, is
10
it?
points, Fran.
Okay, I was starting simple with you guys, but the reason it's called a radio control car is because the way the signal gets through from my controller to the car is via invisible waves of energy called radio waves. The thing is, we don't only use radio waves to control cars, we also use them to transmit television programs, to look at objects in space. We also use them to exchange information with Wi-Fi and Bluetooth. But the fact that we use them for so many different things does lead to some problems.
So you mean they kind of crash into each other?
Exactly, it's known as interference. And so what happens is the signal from one radio wave can stop another radio wave getting through as it should. Let me show you, right? This is your controller or your transmitter.
Yep.
There you go.
Oh, exciting, eh? Brings you back to the school days, doesn't it?
All right.
And this is your car.
What's that?
Well, this is a radio control car with a blowtorch on top.
Of course it is, Fran.
Right, so that's your car.
Hey.
So your mission is to drive your car and blowtorch to that fuse, light the fuse, and set the reaction going.
What our Fran is actually getting us to do is recreate Hedy Lamarr's original genius idea to get a torpedo to hit its target.
Torpedoes used to use a fixed radio frequency to guide them. This meant they could easily be intercepted, which would mean they would miss.
So, in this experiment, our remote control car is the torpedo and the barrel is our submarine. Bring it on.
So we actually get to do this?
Yeah. I trust you guys, which might be a mistake to do it.
I like the blowtorch.
No. I'll light the blowtorch.
You don't trust us?
No, but let's go to our starting point over here. That's it.
With us all in place, it's time to send our remote control torpedo on its way.
Go!
Go on, lad.
Go on, steer it. That's it. Go on, a bit more.
Oh, it's stuck. It's not moving. Hold on a minute. No, what's this?
Well, the thing is, I've got a controller as well. So what I'm doing is I'm controlling it at the same time. So my radio waves are interfering with your radio waves.
Fran.
Your signal can't get through and you can't control your car. But this is where Hedy Lamarr's genius was, right? She thought instead of just transmitting on the same frequency, there are loads of radio wave frequencies. So what you can do is actually hop or jump from frequency to frequency to frequency, and each one has a little bit of the message. And so then if you get interference, it's only a little bit of your message that gets lost. And using that method of frequency hopping, she could make sure that the torpedo could get to its target submarine. So all you need to do is change the frequency on your transmitter. So if you change it to another one.
Right.
Ready?
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Okay.
I'm going towards it.
Left a bit, left a bit. Right a bit.
It's going, it's going.
That's it.
Boom.
Amazing! Double bosh!
That is so good.
Torpedo hits submarine.
That's all down to Hedy Lamarr and her frequency hopping. And by doing that, your signal could get through to your car and we could get the explosion.
Well done, Hedy.
Explosive stuff, boys. With Hedy's invention of frequency hopping, communications now weren't restricted to using one radio frequency, and interference was a thing of the past.
This technology is now used in Wi-Fi to give us a seamless connection to the internet, as it hops from frequency to frequency without us even knowing.
Now we can even video call the other side of the world, and it's all thanks to Hedy's explosive genius.
Still to come, Dick and I are going to be using our brains in a quiz like no other.
Well, lads.
We'll only be able to answer using the power of our minds.
Thanks to today's technology, we use electricity to communicate.
And we can connect anywhere in the world thanks to Wi-Fi.
But how are we going to communicate in the future? What?
Have you got it yet?
Can't read minds.
Well, you might be able to one day, thanks to our next genius, introducing Giuliano Ruffini.
Buenos dias, boys.
What?
I'm having a private chat with him. Do you mind?
Just concentrate.
Ever since the word telepathy was first used to describe sending thoughts to one another, it only seemed possible in science fiction and horror stories.
But with advances in technology, Ruffini and his team in 2014 managed to achieve the impossible.
He managed to get two people, one in France and one in India, to communicate by their thoughts alone.
Truly genius. To explain this futuristic technology is top brain scientist Dr. Alejandro Riera.
He's got over 10 years' experience working with brains.
Alejandro, lovely to meet you. How you doing?
Nice to meet you too.
So, thanks to Ruffini, you were the first person to send a message from your brain to another brain.
That's
How
right.
do you do that?
Well, by using this technology, decoding some information from the brain, I was thinking some thoughts, and this same information was inputting from one brain to another brain.
Now my brain's starting to hurt just thinking about this. Are we going to be able to communicate and have whole conversations without talking?
In the future, it will be possible. Actually, in our case, we were able to say hello, and we took 1 hour and a half. So at the moment, I think it's much faster to send an email.
But
or a
everything
WhatsApp.
started somewhere, right? This sounds
Exactly.
like the very beginnings of the future, how we're going to do things.
Can we have a go?
Yeah, sure. Everything seems a little bit complicated, but I think it's better if I just show you how it
Sounds
works.
good.
Sure.
I think this is going to be a lot of fun.
Right, I am now a human guinea pig, but Alejandro, why have I got this attached to my head?
Well, we have attached this system to your head in order to see your brain waves and to show how these brain waves represent in this nice model, in which we can see, for instance, when a person thinks about moving his feet, we will have activity in this point, just in top of the head.
Yes.
And when thinking about moving the hands, we will have activity in these two parts of the brain.
So what you're saying is different thoughts cause activity in different parts of the brain.
Exactly.
And in this instant, just thinking about his feet makes this part of his brain active.
Exactly.
And hands here. So that means you at home, have a go. Think about moving your feet now. You're doing it. You're using that bit of your brain. Think about moving your hands. Just think. You're using here. That's incredible.
By understanding how different parts of the brain are used, Ruffini's team were able to design a simple bat and ball game.
Whenever Dick thinks of his feet, the ball goes down, and thinking only of his hands makes the ball go up. The idea is to hit the target just by the power of your thoughts. Look, Dick's brain.
By doing this, it's possible to send a 2-word message, or even Morse code.
Woohoo!
To be totally clear, I'm only thinking about moving my hands and thinking about moving my feet. I am not actually going to move them.
Exactly.
Right.
Service. There we go.
The trick is really not to move, not to speak.
By only thinking of my hands or feet, I'm actually moving the ball to hit the target. But it's really difficult and takes a lot of concentration. See what I mean?
Yes.
But with some practice, I start to get the hang of it.
hands.
Good.
It's amazing! And he's really doing that just by thinking about his hands. That's the sending part of the communication under control, but how does someone receive the message in their brain? Hi, Chris. How you doing? All right. So what's your job?
So I'm running the stimulators that are going to transmit the information that we get from Dick's brain into Hannah's head.
So these machines will send kind of an electrical pulse into Hannah's brain, which will then tell her to move her hand.
Yep, and they're big magnets, so they work by magnetism, and they make the brain activity change, and that should make her hands twitch. So if we stimulate on the right-hand side of her brain, it should make her left hand twitch.
By sending strong magnetic pulses to different areas of your brain, it can make you move different parts of your body, whether you want to move them or not.
This truly is future tech. So, Hannah,
Yes.
are you totally fine with this?
I am totally fine with this.
Right, we need to see this.
Okay, so...
Oh, no! Hang on a minute. Is that actually hurting? It sounds like an electric shock is making you twitch. Is it like a shock?
No, it doesn't hurt at all.
It's just stimulating your brain to make your hand move.
Yes.
That is genius.
By using technology that observes different activities in your brain, Ruffini has written computer programs that can send messages just from your thoughts.
Hands.
And by using electronic pulses, the message can then be transferred into someone else's head. Oh, no!
I think we need to put this state-of-the-art tech to use in our Genius Tech Challenge. Here's the plan.
Using the technology developed by our third genius, Ruffini, Dick and I are going head-to-head with Brainbox Alejandro Riera in the first ever brain-to-brain quiz.
We'll each be given 3 incredibly easy questions where we'll try to communicate the answers just by the power of thought.
Using the bat and ball game from earlier in the show, we will have to hit the target if the answer's A and miss it for B.
The question is, will the power of our brains be enough to beat Alejandro's?
Time to get this quiz started.
It's that time of the week again where we get the old grey matter working. It's the only show where you don't say the answers, you think them. It's the Brain Game. And here's our very own brain, Science Queen Fran.
Welcome to the world's first ever brain-to-brain quiz. And our contestants today are Alejandro, a pioneer of brain-to-brain technology. His PhD is in computational intelligent techniques applied to electrophysiology data analysis. And on my left, we have Dick and Dom. There's going to be 3 questions each, and the answer will either be A or B. You've got only the power of your brain to come up with the answer. Alejandro, please take your seat.
This is not your typical quiz, because it's not about knowing the answer, it's about being able to send it using just the power of your brain. Once an answer has been given, it will be transferred into Hannah's brain and will make her arms involuntarily twitch. Twitchy.
Alejandro, are you ready? Here comes your first question. In what year was the internet invented? A, 1969, B, 2000.
The first ever bits of information were sent over the internet back in 1969. So Alejandro has to think the right answer to send it to Hannah. And his answer is... A!
Correct!
It's a good start for Alejandro, but now it's time for Dick to get his brain into gear.
Got it!
So here's your first question. How many words do we speak on average in one day? Is it A, 13,000, or B, 1 billion?
A billion words is a lot of talking, so the answer is 13,000, which Dick has to think up to Hannah. But does he have the brain power?
Go on, lads.
Correct, my old friend.
It's 1-1. Alejandro must now try to take the lead.
In what year was the telephone invented? A, 2010, or B, 1876?
Alexander Graham Bell made the first telephone back in 1876. Alejandro must concentrate hard to send the right answer to Hannah's brain.
Well done.
Alejandro has 2 answers correct. The pressure is now well and truly on for Dom as his brain takes the stage.
Which language has the most words for snow? Is it A, English, or B, Inuit?
There are around 50 different words for snow in the Inuit languages. Dom has to try and send the answer B to Hannah's brain.
That is incorrect, young man.
It's Alejandro's third and final question. If he gets this right, there's no way back for the boys.
What percentage of the world population has access to the internet? Is it A, 40%, or B, 99.9%?
A recent study showed that just over 40% of the world's population had access to the internet. If Alejandro can send the answer A to Hannah's brain, he wins. That, of course, means today's winner is Alejandro. But commiserations to the losers, Dick and Dom.
Congratulations, old boy. Well, it doesn't surprise me one bit that a doctor of neuroscience beat Dick and Dom.
On today's show, we've learnt that the way we communicate has been made much easier thanks to today's geniuses.
Their genius ideas have made it possible to keep in touch with everyone almost instantly.
And we've had a glimpse at the communication of the future.
It's amazing!
They're all beep, absolute genius.
Woohoo!
Where's Rich gone?
It's Dom!
A long line, is it?
My fingers.
Wow! His head's fallen off!
How do you find that? Blew my head off.
You can't end it like that.
Take an incredible den design.
I like this one. That's cool.
I really need your help.
Add CBBC's finest den-loving duo.
The muscles arrived.
And a team of brilliant builders.
We're on. It fits.
Give it a good stir and you've got yourself your very own dream den.
No adults allowed.
Yeah, I love it.
I love it.
It's a dream come true.
That's amazing!
The Dengineers, a brand new show, starts Saturday at 8:25 on CBBC.
Oh! Up next is the brilliant Technobabble. In today's episode, Nicky and Sammy are showing you how to use the latest apps to prank your mates.
Oh, talking of pranks, you might be getting pied soon, oh yes.
Perfect.
It's time for us to put you to the test.
Yes.
Spelling-wise.
But I won't be getting pied unless I get 3 spellings right.
Yes.
So I probably will be getting pied.
Get ready to write down. Have you got your pen ready?
Got my pen ready.
The first word you must spell correctly is...
Nervous.
Wigan! And it's been sent in by Kate.
Wigan?
Thank you, Kate.
Happy days.
Wigan. The second word is rhythm. By...
Wait, you can't...
That is correct. That is correct. I can verify.
One.
The next one is rhythm.
Rhythm?
By Oscar. Rhythm. 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 By Oscar. Correct. That's correct.
That's correct. Give me the ting.
Yeah, and the next one is Rhapsody. And this has been sent in by Elizabeth.
All right. Wait.
Oh, no, right, you're wrong. Rhythm is wrong.
How do you spell rhythm?
Not like that. It's R-H-Y-T-H-M. And Rhapsody is R-H-A-P-S-O-D-Y. That's that's embarrassingly wrong, that is. So you must now pie yourself in the face and neck and hair and ears with that pie from Alan the Bear.
Thank you. Thank you, team. Thanks.
Pie yourself in the face, son.
I've got a great pirouette, though, just for a round. Oh, no. All right.
And the hair and the ears and neck.
Yep, hacks. Right. Thank you for the spelling questions. Thank you. We've got Technobabble to come. We're also doing home ec.